Testing. 1, 2, 3. More? You need more. Okay.
Welcome everyone to board meeting tonight. Thank you all for coming. We will begin with a reverence by Julie Taylor, a board member. And then flag salute, Pledge of Allegiance, Heidi Jo West, our Assistant Superintendent of Elementary Teaching and Learning. And then recognitions by Julie Taylor again as our board member.
Our Father in heaven, we are so grateful to be gathered tonight and grateful for this wonderful land we live in. We're grateful for this month of July where we've had to celebrate the independence of our nation and also our coming Pioneer Day for the founding of this great state we live in and for the sacrifices that all those who have made before us. We're thankful for the opportunities we have to serve the students and those in our district that we can work with and associate with such good people and such hard workers who have a vision for the future. We ask thee to help us as we go throughout this meeting, that we can be guided and directed in our thoughts, that we can have clarity and understanding of the issues, and that we can make the decisions that will benefit our students and the whole of our district, our teachers and support staff and everyone moving forward. And we say these things in the name of Jesus Christ. Amen. Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, we have one recognition tonight, and it's for Bear River High School. They received the Utah High School Activities Association Bronze Star, and just let me read what that means. It's a sportsmanship, raise the bar. Every year, the Utah High School Activities Association sponsors Raise the Bar, Sportsmanship Matters, and it encourages schools to promote and exhibit great sportsmanship on and off the field. And so at the conclusion of each year, schools submit an application reviewed by the sportsmanship committee, and if the school meets the criteria, a star is earned to place on the sportsmanship banner hanging in the school. Let's see. And they wanted to recognize, so Bear River High School received a Bronze Star for completing the first level of sportsmanship requirements. And I was just looking at some of the things, some of the initiatives for the sportsmanship are do rowdy right. We want them to cheer, we want them to support, but do it in a positive way. You cheer your team, not boo everybody else. And team up with the team to respect each other, the players, the activities, everybody you're doing with. So we wanted to congratulate Bear River High School on achieving that Bronze Star sportsmanship recognition. I think that's a great recognition and may not seem as prestigious or as big of a deal, but it's actually really, really important. So that is our recognition for tonight.
Okay, thank you, Julie. Thank you. Okay, now we need to have a motion and a second to approve tonight's agenda.
I'll move we approve tonight's agenda. I'll second.
Okay, Nancy Kennedy has made the motion and Brian Smith the second. All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Okay, we have an agenda for tonight. And then we'll go to public comment. Just a few guidelines before our public comment from policy 1110, our public participation in board meeting. Patrons we ask that they state their name, first and last name before comments. And your individual comments will be limited to 3 minutes. If you're here with a group, the group can be represented by one person and take 6 minutes. Also, if you have a handout, you can certainly give us handouts. And the board will not take final action on or have discussion on any items that are not on the agenda this evening. So just be aware that we are here to listen to you. And comments on personnel issues will not be allowed during public comments. So it looks like we have one individual tonight, and that's Jessica Sessions. If you'd like to come up and just speak right into that microphone. Jessica, thank you.
Thank you. My name is Jessica Sessions. I work at Boxelder Middle School, and I want to voice a complaint about fall break. When I was looking at when fall break, it is Friday, October 11th, and then Monday, the 14th. And I did research. I looked up every single school district in the state, and 22 out of the 41 school districts are doing it on October 17th and 18th. This includes every single county which surrounds our county. And the reason why I feel like this is a problem is we have employees in our district who live in those other counties, who have kids in those counties, and they're probably going to potentially take that fall break with their kids, and we're going to have personnel shortages on the 17th and 18th, and I'm worried about the lack of subs. When I was doing my research, the only connection I found with why our fall break is when it is that it lines up with promontory. I don't know if they chose that beforehand and we copied, or vice versa.
Vice versa.
So they copied us? Okay.
They always do.
Okay. Why is our fall break on a Friday and a Monday? I'm just curious if you can answer that question.
Steve, would you like me to respond
Would
or
you?
no? So we had a bunch of teachers who let us know that they would prefer to have 2 4-day weeks to get through their curriculum rather than a 3-day week and a 5-day week.
Okay.
They suggested that, asked that, it was supported by enough teachers and those that were pulled to move forward with trying that out for this year. We're obviously open to the negotiating committee, revising that and making a suggestion through the BEEA for what the calendar should look like for next year.
Yeah.
That calendar was approved and published back in November and revised in January and approved by the board both times and put out to the teachers.
Okay. Yeah, I was just curious because I was like, I don't know why it was picked, so.
Just a response to what teacher
Yep,
request.
thank you. So, I'm mainly just worried there is gonna be personnel shortages. I do have to take off the 18th because my brother who goes to USU is getting married that day, and that's when his fall break is, and I'm like, that's a fun problem. And so it's like, I hope there's subs. I'm putting mine in early, don't worry. So, just for future, I would try and coordinate with all the other districts, because I know we have a lot of personnel who live not in our district. Like in my school alone, there's 15 out of 50 teachers don't live in Box Elder. So, that's all I have to say.
Okay, thank you, Jessica. I appreciate that input. Thank you so much. Okay, that's all of our public comment. Is anyone else here to do public comment? Didn't sign up? Did you sign up? Okay. You can come up and just give us your first and last name. Right, okay? Okay, perfect. Thank you.
I'm Laura Wheatley, and this is for the PTA. And I just wanted to announce we just had National Convention a couple of weeks ago for PTA, and they have voted, and it passed, just barely passed, for National to increase their dues by $1. And so you'll just see dues increasing across the board for the whole nation of PTA because of that. So their costs are increasing just like everywhere, so they just wanted to be able to continue to do their business. So that was the only comment I had to make.
Okay, thank you, Laura. That was helpful. Thank you. Appreciate that. Okay, now we'll go to our action items. Approval of early learning plan, and that's Ashley Nelson, our Director of Literacy and Instructional Support.
Thank you. It is recommended that the Box Elder School District Board of Education approve the 2024-25 early learning plan. Do you have any questions or anything?
Is this the one I said in the meeting?
Yes.
Okay. Can you give us the highlights?
The highlights, absolutely. Okay, so the early learning plan is a plan that is required every year from our state. We are required to have a group of myself, of Heidi Jo, of some of our coaches and principals, as well as a board member. So we invited Julie to come to that and to make this plan together. So we look at our data for the year and then decide on a stretch goal so that we can continue to move forward in the areas of literacy and math. So for early literacy, we had to, in accordance to SB 127, write down what our curriculum is that we use. There's a state-approved list, so anything that we're using in our classrooms has to be on that list that is approved by the state. So we just had to report on what programs we are using, As far as early mathematics, again, we had to say what intervention programs that we're using and how our intervention programs are using evidence-based strategies so that our students are getting the very best instruction that is possible. And then, so down to our local goals, we had our early mathematics goal that we will increase the percentage of our first grade students performing at or above benchmark on the advanced quantity discrimination measure. So that is basically looking at two numbers and they have to say which one is larger. So it's developing that number sense. We want them to increase 10% from beginning of the year to the end of the year with a number of students that are proficient in that skill. We're going to use strategies to teach fluency for number sense and increasing number identification fluency. Our second goal was our literacy goal, and we would like to increase the percentage of our second grade students reading above benchmark in our oral reading fluency by 5% from beginning of year to end of year. So we are increasing opportunities for students to read in classrooms and really having our coaches going and supporting the teachers by how much reading is actually being done, because the only way to become better at reading is to read a lot. We are making sure that students have access to appropriate grade level text and not giving them things that are just easy to read, but is something that is actually on level so that they can increase their skills. And then I know you've heard a lot about our letters training that we've been doing this past several years, but that is a big focus that we're going to use in our observations with coaches going in and giving feedback specifically to the things that the teachers have been learning in letters, so that it's not just a training that we took once, but it's something that we are continually working on and improving our teachers' skills in the science of reading.
And if I could just comment here, because I sat in this meeting and I found it very informative and very data-driven. Like, they had numbers for the past 3 years in every grade level, every standard, every area that said these were our percentages, and then we chose the areas of greatest need, like the one that needed improvement, and then looked at what the average was, and then you stretch. I mean, it was very, it's not just like, oh, we're randomly pulling out of goals. Because sometimes when we read these things, it's like, okay, 5%. Nobody's randomly choosing anything. It's very data-driven, and it's based on our numbers, our schools. It's not some state-dictated, you have to be at this percent. So I really enjoyed listening to that, and they gave a very clear definition of how to do it. There was a training we watched, and I saw these, Heidi Jo and Ashley and some of the coaches. They're amazing. They are amazing. They understand. They know what the teachers are doing. They are working to pinpoint areas of needed improvement. And I was just thoroughly impressed with how well the meeting ran, and they know what they're doing. And even though there's only this one goal here, that's not the only thing that's being focused on, right?
We have many goals.
Like,
this is just the one we chose.
This is
for
the
the
one
state.
you choose to report on, because you can't report on every single goal, every single grade level. But that was really helpful for me to sit in on that, and I thank you for inviting me to be on that, because I thought it was a great experience, and I'm really impressed with how professional they are and know what they're doing to help students. That's their focus. That's their focus. So
Thank you.
With that being said, I'll make a motion that we approve this evening the 2024-25 early learning plan.
I second.
Okay, Connie Archibald has made the motion, and Danielle Wright has made the second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Okay, Ashley, it's all approved.
Great,
You're
thank
good.
you.
Thank you so much.
If I could, I'd like to add, in the 2013 general session, the legislature passed House Bill 49, which uses the voted and board local levy, and a portion of that was voted by this board, I guess 11 years ago, 10 years ago, to set aside a portion of the voted levy for literacy. And so Ashley will have that in the literacy budget for next year. And I don't know, it sounds like a lot of money, but it doesn't go very far. It's like $400,000 to $500,000, so it's right in that range. So just so you know, the local board voted levy is supporting our literacy learning in this school
Awesome.
district.
Okay, good. Okay, great. Okay, now approval of our 2024 tax rates. Dave Roberts, our business administrator.
Okay, so at the last board meeting, we approved last year's budget. We were finally able to get the numbers finalized from the state, not the state, the county assessor, as well as the Utah State Tax Commission. So those are the rates that you show there. In order to generate the same revenue as last year, excluding growth, the tax rate actually went up, 0.000455, which is not very common for that to happen, but there's a good reason that happened. On average, the valuation usually goes up somewhere between $5 to $8 billion a year. So just give you an example, last year that amount was at I'm gonna misquote, so I better go and look. Certified tax rate in 2023 valuation was at 7.3 billion. It went up to 7.5 billion. The previous year, before last tax year of 2023, the valuation was at 6.5 billion. So it rose $8 billion in 1 year, and it only rose 2 billion going from last year to this year. And so that's why that you see that very small minimal increase in the certified tax rate, is because of the very small increase normally that would happen in the valuations. And so that's why you have that small increase. And then also too, if you'll notice on there, on that colored section that's below the actual table and the recommendation, it does show you the tax rates. And we had talked about moving some of the levy, adjusting the levy on the capital side and increasing the levy in the board side to kind of compensate for inflation and for the fact that some of our big capital projects had finalized, like Golden Spike and Grouse Creek, and so those capital levies weren't necessarily needed in that area. And so that's why you show the pink, because that is an increase in the tax rate under the board, but you will notice that there is a decrease under the capital amount there. So any questions?
So Dave, you were saying billion, don't you mean million?
No, it's billion.
That's statewide?
No, that's, well, yes, for the state, correct.
Yeah, so it's not our districts.
Correct.
Okay, I just wanted to be clear for
That would be nice.
those that are listening online.
7.51,
Good, but
yeah,
not that good.
yes. But I just wanted to explain to you why we had that small increase, and that's because of the very minimal increase in tax valuation as compared to previous years, where it was somewhere between 5 to 8 billion a year, going from 1 year to the next year. Do you guys have any questions? Okay.
Okay, we just need a motion and a second.
I move we approve let me read it. Accept the certified tax rates for the 2024 year at the certified tax rate of what's listed and
Ju-
as presented by it all.
Okay. Julie Taylor has made the motion. Do we have a second?
I'll second it.
Connie Archibald has made the second. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Okay, it passes. We're good. Okay, now we go on to our information items, our 2023-24 TSSA plan results. That's Keith Meekum and Heidi Jo West, our Assistant Superintendents of Curriculum.
Okay, so these are the TSSA final plan results. You'll recall probably that back in March, we reviewed the 22-23 trust land plan final report. We're actually doing these off a year because trust lands with the state, they ask us to do it a year and a half behind, but with us looking at these in July, all of our administrators were able to go in and look at what their goals were and whether or not they had met them by May and give us the final report. So anyway, they just, if you scroll through, they've put what their goal is, and then on the final report portion, they've put, you know, what their result was, and then the next page is what their budget was set up as. So this is just an information item because it's part of our framework to share it each year.
Okay, do we have any questions for Heidi Jo or Keith?
That's awesome.
Okay,
I enjoyed reading just all the great things people are doing.
that's true.
They're somewhat different, but not all similar, but there's just some fun things happening in our schools, and it's just really exciting.
And this is where Ashley, Julie's comment about, you know, the schools have a lot of goals, you know, there's a lot of goals for the district that all come into play, and the principals take a lot of those types of things into these plans as well, and the trust lands plans, and I know a lot of that is happening at the secondary schools too, so.
I would just state that some of the secondary assessments, you know, a handful of years ago, RISE was grades 3 through 11, and then they went away from 9, 10, 11 and turned it into practice ACT and the ACT. Administrators have grappled with significance of those practice national norm tests. We are working with the state to perhaps bring back, extend RISE back to 11. But at the end of the day, you know, we have some other things called MAPS testing, trying to find a way to use something of substance that's happening in the classroom. So we're not overly in love with what we have, but we're certainly trying to find ways to make it more meaningful and provide more data. And we've got plans coming up, you know, this year that can help all programs, not just, you know, math, science, language arts, show relevance of the good things that we're doing and growth in our students. So we're hoping to continue to make these even more meaningful than the good work that they've done this year.
Okay, thank you both, appreciate that. Okay, we'll go on to our monthly financial report. Dave Roberts, our business administrator.
Okay, I have some color in this one. So all the, really want to just point out to you that some of those ones that were showing that they weren't 100% completed, most of those have to do with payroll, and that's because we still have one more check that we need to cut for our employees that will be posted into this fiscal year. Even though we're in July, it still needs to be posted into the prior fiscal years, and so that's what most of those yellows are. There is one on line 82, purchase services, and that's in the transportation department, and that's because they purchased a new routing software. The other one was getting was no longer being supported, and so they had to find a new software program in order to be supported for the routing. So that's why that item was over budget for this year. That was not an expectation that we were expecting to have happen in the budget year. And then also on line 92, we had a little bit, well, 40% over, which is only a couple $1,000s, but still, it was 40% over as far as what we budgeted there at the natatorium. But I will just tell you that the items that we need to maintain and keep the water in the condition it needs to be in is costing dramatically more than it was a couple years ago, and so that's what that concern is there. And then on line 111, which is, so Fund 21 is all school activities. So that's all the schools and their expenditures. We were 900,000 over there. We went back through and we tried to find, Yvette and I tried to find where that was, like to see if there was a single big purchase or a couple big purchases. And really what it comes down to is everything is just costing more. When they go out to buy supplies, it's just costing more money. And that adjustment has been made for next year as far as that budget line item. So that should, and even with that, their revenue is still more than their expenditures, even though they went over budget in that category. But there was nothing, we didn't see anything that was extreme or out of place in the school, in the Fund 21, the school budget. So, and then on line 138, 139, basically, we just estimated bad budget numbers for our revenue for Fund 32, and understanding even though those numbers are off quite a bit from the previous year. If you look at the amount that we received over in the second to last column to your right, we estimated pretty close to what we received the prior year with a little bit of additional revenue, but we did not receive that in our capital. And the other one below that, the federal MBA, so that is, I don't know if you guys remember that when we did the Fielding lease loan, that was a qualified zoning, I can't remember what the A stands for, bond. And basically what we do is we receive a subsidy back in interest from the federal government, and they are actually behind in issuing those, and so we should receive a little bit more, but again, it's not going to be that 250 that we are anticipating. It'll be less than that because we are getting to the tail end of that, And so the subsidy amounts are not going to be as big. So that was also adjusted for the next calendar year. And I think the last one is line 179 under school foods. Just wanted to show that what we budgeted for as far as participation that we'd receive back from basically a reimbursement from the state in regards to the participation. That right there, line 179, is not have to do with school lunch. That participation has to do with alcohol tax. So just so you know, based off the amount that we receive, people are drinking more. And that's about all I got for you. Anything else?
Dave, will you explain? I don't quite understand the 138. I understood the 139. The capital outlay state?
So line
What is
138.
that?
Yeah, so I don't know if you guys remember that they passed a bill that was a small capital fund bill 2 years ago, and we used that big portion of that to build Grouse Creek.
Right.
And we sent an application in for additional money, and we did not get accepted.
Oh, okay.
There was other school districts that had a priority over us. And we were anticipating we were going to get some more, and we did not.
And we didn't. Okay.
Correct.
Thank you.
Yep. Any other questions?
Okay, thank you, Dave, appreciate that. Thank you so much. Did we have any board committee reports for this past month? Karen?
Just to thank you from Boys and Girls Club for those that were able to come out to their fundraiser. They said it was very successful and appreciated our support.
Okay, thank you, Karen. Thank you so much. Okay, now we just need a motion to approve our consent items for tonight.
I was just gonna say, I just had maybe a little bit of a change. Down there,
Okay.
it said that, something about the Boys and Girls Club, that we needed to have so many go. If we could change that to invited, it wasn't a need, it was just an invitation for them, from them.
In the minutes? Where is this at?
Yeah. I don't know, you guys got there so fast. I'm still trying to find it, guys. Probably in board support, yeah. Board reports, Karen Cronin brought up the need for 4 board members to attend, and just if we could change that to the invitation for 4 board members to attend.
Oh, you mean from our minutes from last month? Oh,
Yeah.
okay, okay,
Do you know where that is, Dave?
Yep, I found it.
Okay.
Page 7 of 10.
It's done.
okay,
Okay, now I'll move to accept the minutes.
okay. So Nancy Kennedy has made the motion, Brian Smith the second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Okay, motion passes. Any suggestions for future board meetings?
Board President Hyde.
Yes.
The Sex Education Committee that I promised Karen that we would have, more parents. I'm still waiting anyway, it was supposed to be approved tonight. I'm about 75% done, but I'm waiting for a couple more parents to give their okay to be a part of it. So I'm going to present it in August 14th.
Okay,
I talked to Marcy Hatt. She's going to put that on so it can be official, but wanted you to know that that wasn't on. It was supposed to be tonight. We're going to move it to August.
okay, sounds good, sounds good. Thank you, Keith, appreciate that information.
Board President Hyde?
Yes.
Just one other thing too on in the same area. If there's any of you guys that would like to participate on a committee for school lunch, we're supposed to meet twice a year and have on that committee principals and students and parents. But if there's a board member that would like to participate, if you'll just send me an email and I'll make sure you get an invitation to that. You're not required to be there. There's no requirement for us to have a board member there. But if any of you are interested and would like to participate, we're more than welcome to participate.
Is lunch served?
Depends on the time of day, I guess.
I wouldn't mind being a part of that, Dave.
Okay, thank you, Dave. Then we have our Board of Education handbook, no changes there. I would like to give a big welcome to, she is officially here for her first time tonight, Emily Williams, our new Executive Director over HR. So welcome, Emily, glad to have you on board. Appreciate you being here tonight. Thank you. And also, I know this is going to break everyone's heart, but we have, will not have a closed session tonight. It has been rescheduled for August. And so we just need a motion and a second for adjournment. Okay.
Second.
So, I know. The new world's record. I was trying to make it by 7. I'm 1 minute short.
7:01?
Okay.
So if I show up
Nancy-
home at 10 after 7, the husband's not going to have a clue what's happening.
So Nancy made the motion. Who made the second?
Karen.
Oh, Karen? Karen did. Karen Cronin. All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Okay. Thank you so much. Have a good night.
But we have been here since 2, so.
We have.
Oh, you know what?